Ladies and gentlemen, it is the homemade broadcast. It is episode 522, not live stream. This is June, Julia's cat. She was sitting in here with me today.
So can't tell them apart.
Well, they're both, one's a cow cat, they call it, and one is, we like to say that she's also a cow cat, the other one, Barbara. But she's actually just a tuxedo cat, I believe they call it. More black than white. June's more white than black.
Got you.
So one's the clear favorite. Guess which one? You know what I'm saying? Come on. No.
Well, judging from my reputation around town, yes. There's a clear winner.
That's right. That's right. My name is Will Kuntz. This is On a Hummel. This is the homemade broadcast episode 522, not live stream this week. We are not live on YouTube because we had a snafu in scheduling and we had to make some brief corrections. And I found out, which I didn't know. I did know, and I would have got a notification, but I didn't know that it's your birthday on Wednesday.
May 8th. Probably wouldn't have gotten a notification. I've taken it off of the Facebook.
I have it. I believe I have it in my phone.
Oh.
Let me see. Let me check my calendar here. Adam Howell's birthday is also tomorrow. You share a birthday with my friend Adam Howell. And it shows up right here.
Oh, it says both?
Yep.
Oh. Very nice. Well, I'm thoroughly impressed. But yeah, my birthday is tomorrow or today, whenever it gets released, whenever this episode gets released. But
can I ask I know it's not really one of those things, at least traditionally you don't ask a woman her age or her weight. I would like to ask you your age and your weight for your birthday.
I'll be 37 years old, and I'm probably between 115 and 120 pounds.
Pounds, good. I'm glad it's not stone.
By 2.2, you get to kilos, but in America we do pounds. So yeah, probably about. If I were to take a guess, probably about 117 right now.
Okay.
I would guess. Yeah.
Good. And 36 years old.
37.
Ooh, 37.
37. Yeah. Getting up there. But listen, I think women, especially, you make it worse when you cringe at your own age. When you don't want to answer the question or you say it's rude to ask, it's not rude to ask. It's something that you get asked by a doctor all the time, so they can put you in a demographic. It's not rude to ask because maybe people think you look really young, but you have wisdom about you and they're just like, how, or maybe people are just curious, how old are you? Can I relate to you? Will you remember this thing from my past? Are we about the same age? You make it worse. I see women do it all the time. They don't answer the question. They'll be like, it's rude to ask, or I'm not going to tell you. It's just like, just lean into it and own it, because you can't go back in time. So just own it. I don't know. It bothers me. I'm like, you're making it worse for me and everyone else when you do that. So
yeah, I feel like it's not really a thing anymore. I think that was more I don't even know if Gen X does the don't ask a woman her age thing. It was more like the baby boomers, I guess, and the generations before.
I see millennials do it.
Oh, really?
I saw a woman who was like a chiropractor on YouTube last week, and she was like answering questions. She has like millions of followers. She's in Orlando, and someone asked her how old she was. She wouldn't answer. And I would guess she's probably about 40, 38.
Okay.
She wouldn't answer it. I was just like, what?
Did she look old?
No, she looks about 38 to 40, I would guess. But
that might mean that she's 50 though, and she just looks really good for her age. And she has
Then why don't you be like, I'm 50 and I look really good for my age? I don't know
how old you are. You're an old bat, worthless to society.
Yeah, whatever, dude. I mean, she was married too. She was happy to answer that. She was like, I don't have kids. But then it was more personal for someone to ask her age than if she was married, which to me is like a more personal thing, you would think. But whatever, that's her prerogative. But I see it a lot, especially as women approach 40. We don't like that. We don't like it. But, you just go, it is what it is. I'm happy to be alive. That's what I was telling myself today on my 2-hour bike ride. I'm like, man, all these things are going wrong. But I'm like, look at you on your bike with your legs that work and your lungs that can breathe and your heart that pumps blood and gives your body oxygen. You're doing pretty good. Like, I was like, you're doing great.
That is the last, and I'm not saying it's going to happen to you, but that is the last gasp before going into a deep depression. That's like the denial stage of life where you're just like, hey, it could be worse. At least I'm alive. And then you go, why am I alive? And then you just go into a deep spiral.
Or the exact opposite, where you're spiraling, and that kind of puts everything right back into perspective.
Well, sometimes you need to spiral.
Pardon?
Sometimes you need to spiral. Like, you should feel certain emotions sometimes. I think there's a lot of emphasis on being happy all the time, being happy, making your own happiness. But unfortunately, things and circumstances aren't always happy. It's just navigating the ebbs and flows of life and handling those emotions in a healthy way, as opposed to trying to change the emotion. You can't, I mean, like, there's certain things you can do. You can exercise, right? You can go outside and get some vitamin D. You can, treat yourself to something, but those tend to be, temporary fixes. There's healthy lifestyles that you can lead, but sometimes you're going to be in the dumps, and it's just navigating those dumps in a healthy way and using those sometimes downtrodden negative emotions and turning them into something positive. That's what's important.
That is a lesson lost on this generation and the ones younger. And I think that if they just took what you said and harnessed it, everyone would be in a much, much better spot. Because as soon as you get depressed or upset, and by depressed, I don't mean that in a chronic sense, just like you are feeling a depressed mood, you immediately think something is wrong with you instead of going, oh, this is a pretty normal reaction to the things I'm going through. And much like you said, using negative emotions are great for fuel, right? When I was feeling very anxious about my whole life this morning, I did about 2 hours of work. And by work, I mean like what I've been telling you I've been doing, reaching out, sending emails, making some calls. But at a certain point, I was getting like a little like the crackhead. What was the crackhead? Was it Tyrone
Bixby?
Yeah, where it's like, I was feeling like I didn't feel settled or good about anything. So I go, okay, I got a lot of energy. I got an anxious energy, but anxious energy is energy. So I'm like, I'm going to go on a bike ride right now. And I don't know how long I'm going to go, but I'm just going to go until I feel like I don't want to go anymore. And I went about 22 miles. Wow. So yeah, just hauling A big time through Clearwater all the way down. I almost hit Largo before I was like, oh yeah, I have to go back. So, but as soon as I came back, level-headed, calm, it pacified me. I was able to focus better. So I can't even imagine having that anxious feeling and then being like, let me take a pill. Yeah. Or like, let me watch some TV. I was like, I need to move my body because I have energy. I don't even want to call it anxious energy. I'll just be like, I have energy. Go expend some energy. So that's what I did. And I felt great when I came back. I don't know how people like when they're going through things, just like stay still and like mope around. I'm like, I'm just like, go. But I always feel better on the other end. So
yeah, it's interesting because I think I brought this up a few times actually, but a lot of in my day job that I have now, which I'm tied to a desk and very set schedule, but there are so many mental health claims for, I kind of provide customer service for short-term disability claims, and 30% of them are mental health claims. And I think a lot of it is because we're not supposed to be living the life that we're living. We're not supposed to be tied to a desk. We're too new. Our evolution's too new. Now, maybe we'll get there where that's just what our, DNA can handle now, is just being a brain in a jar type of scenario where you're not moving around. But we have these bodies, these organic bodies that need to move and do things and get sunlight, and we're just in an office or in our homes tied to these desks. And I think it really is doing a number to our to our psyche and our just our outlook and framing on life. It's just we're not getting the work that we really need to move our body. We're getting a lot of work, but not the work that we need of plowing fields or we're just too
Sweating
new of
for it.
an animal.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. We talk about this all the time when I was studying evolutionary psychology. It's called the mismatch hypothesis, whereby essentially technology is advancing and evolving much quicker than we are. So, like you said, where you have these caveman brains in this modern world, oh, you crave fat, sugary foods because those are the tastes that helped your ancestors, reach a reproductive age and survive and have children, et cetera, et cetera. Great, but not so great when there's a drive-through at every stop and you don't even have to get in your car to go anywhere. You know what I mean? So you still crave these fatty foods because those are the things that helped you survive in the environment in which we evolved, but not so helpful in a modern society. And I know you can attest to this personally, but I've seen, and I'm sure you've seen, especially little boys, they all have ADHD. Almost every single one of them. Oh my God, little Billy won't sit still for 8 hours in color. It's like, yeah, because he's a little boy. He's not supposed to, So now we're medicating our kids and wanting them to sit still and be like good worker bees, good employees, essentially be obedient, sit, listen, focus. This is why girls do much better than boys in school typically, because they have different interests where they like to color, play dolls, things like that, where they can kind of like focus and they don't want to just, pee in the trash can in the room, which is I heard I don't want to give away any details, but I heard someone's nephews, that's something that they do. They don't like to go to the bathroom, so they just pee in their own trash cans in the room. So that's just kind of the function of, the feature of being a little boy. And it's sad because then you start medicating kids, a developing mind. And like you can attest to, that probably will mess you up later on in life. So
it's funny how there definitely is a difference between little boys and little girls. No matter what people say, there is. And that brought back something that reminded me of my childhood. I still like peeing outside. There's something very liberating about it, something very freeing about it.
Outside, I said pee in the rooms in their trash can.
Well, that's right. And it is a little different. But I was bringing that up because peeing outside, because I remember when I was a little kid, I took a pee outside and then I said, you know what, I kind of got to poo as well. And then I just went ahead and dropped a log on the side of the house and the neighbor found it.
Did they find it or they saw you do it?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it was both. I don't know. But I remember my neighbor notified my mommy that I made a poo-poo on the side of the house. And it was like not a little one either. It was like a big old, like when I could actually poo solid, which has been many, many decades since I've had a solid bowel movement. But it was like a young person, like a 6-7-year-old boy's track. So I had, it was healthy, man. It just slid right out and just plopped there. And I think that even in my head, I was thinking, oh, I didn't know I was going to be this, mammoth here. Now I don't know what to do with this thing. So I kind of I left it
away. Yeah.
The great continent of India style and just kind of left it on the side of the road and just left. And then I found a big old honking doo-doo just on the side of the house. And I don't think I was punished for that, though. I think it was just like, what are you doing? And I was just like, I don't know.
Right.
I had to dookie, so I did. And they were like, okay, well, just come inside.
Yeah.
I will. I didn't do that again.
I think that's a beautiful and disgusting difference between boys and girls. I don't want to give anything away again, but maybe I was at someone's house a couple days ago and you just see like a screaming nude 9-year-old just run around the house. And it's like, dude, I don't even know you that well. And the parents are screaming. And then finally, when the kids go away, we were informed, they've been just like wild. Like they like to pee in the trash cans in the room, even though the bathroom is literally feet away from their door. So it's, I never really did that as a little girl. Also just aiming wise and, anatomically, it's a little bit more challenging, but Yeah, there's certainly a difference between boys and girls, and that's okay.
There was a kid we used to hang out because he had a cool tree house, but he was a little bit younger than us. We were probably like 10, 11, and this kid was like 5. But he was like, maybe 6, but he had a cool tree house that his dad built for him. He was like a carpenter, his dad, and he used to just run outside nude all the time, and I remember thinking, "Well, this is kinda weird. I don't really like to see his little penis, even as a 10, 11-year-old, like, this is kinda weird." But now in retrospect, like, that's probably pretty normal, and he was wild. He would just run around with his little pee-pee, all out and peeing, all over the treehouse, and that's just what he did. Now, he also might have had what we call now autism, and we just didn't know it at that time because it really wasn't diagnosed back then. And perhaps it was diagnosed, he would be diagnosed now, but certainly that wouldn't be normal behavior now. That's for sure.
No, autism is another thing that's very trendy these days. It seems like it to me, it can't be that in a single generation there's such a giant uptick in autism. So was it undiagnosed before, or is there something in the seed oils and the
Yeah.
lead ridden water that's making every other child, especially boys, have autism? Thoughts?
Oh, I think there's a lot of different things. I know that there's a lot of speculation out there potentially about injections that people are given. I'm not solely convinced on that. I wouldn't discount it either. I think it's a lot of different things, though. It's not just one. And I think probably the stuff we're eating, I mean, it's poison. It's really the food supply is completely poison. I have an app now that I use called Yuka, Yuka, that I'll scan food items with, and it kind of tells you if it has poisonous chemicals in it, and what the not only what the label says, the nutritional label, but what kind of you know artificial chemicals are in your food there. And it's weird too because sometimes you'll find something that's like, oh wow, this is good for you, and it's in a package, doesn't have the plastics in it or whatever, at least according to the app. Now the app, I'm supposed, could be bought and paid for as well, but at least according to that. But then you'll scan the same brand in a different item, and it's like garbage for you. It's got like an 8
But
of
let
a
me
100.
let me say this though. I don't think that food now is arguably so much worse than it was in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
I
I
don't
mean,
know. I
there
don't know,
were
man.
there were a lot of TV dinner. I mean, I would say late Generation X, early millennials were raised kind of on the TV dinner. The people who are around 40 now, maybe a little bit older than that, were kind of raised with that kind of food, highly processed food, especially in the 90s when it was very trendy to be to zero fat was really in. Remember, everything was like no fat, but it had like 1,000 carbohydrates.
Mhm.
Um, I would argue what the problem is now more so than before is that people are just over consuming. I
Well, I
would,
think
yeah.
yes, I think that's partially true, but I also think that a lot of probably, there was a time, and it seemed to happen right around the 90s and 2000s, when I think that potentially, and I'm being critical of capitalism here, but got a little too greedy. We let our enemies, quote unquote, make our food. We ship not only the goods that we purchased in our homes to manufacturing in China, but we probably also shipped many of our food processing, antibiotics. Obviously, now that's a big thing. China makes the majority of our antibiotics, and we could be in a lot of trouble if we, poke the bear with too much with them. We could not have medicine anymore.
Yeah.
So, in our desire to ride that gravy train of the 90s and the milk and honey days of America, we really gave our I don't wanna say enemies. I don't think there are enemies necessarily. I don't, and I'm not talking about the people who live in those countries, but that definitely the governments of those countries, they don't like the fact that they're second fiddle, and they would like to be the power center of the world as America once was. And when you're giving that branch of folk power to feed your quote unquote, I don't know, I gotta find a better word. I don't want to say enemy, but
Adversaries?
that still sounds bad. But yeah, if you can put some paint chips in some baby food, as has been well documented many times now, from food that's made in China that's given to babies, it was contaminated with lead. Whoa, whoops, factory mistake. What can I say? And you go, okay, but it seems to happen at least more than once. I'm starting to get a little suspicious here. And instead of companies going, okay, we need to charge a little bit more for goods and services and just make them here at home in America, they go, oh, we got to cut a check to Ukraine to buy them bombs. So we're going to have to try to cut back on the baby food and just go ahead and hopefully they don't put lead in it. That's a big ask these days, but I think it's a lot to do with that too, because people are really focused on. Oh, and there's also the psychological manipulation too of saying, no, you can be a total fat loser and you rule. Yeah, it's a
Well,
world.
that works in concert with what we're talking about. But I mean, there are a lot of foods made, on home soil that, listen, everyone is in the market to make money and have things that have a long shelf life, which are highly processed, have things that are highly palatable, which people want to eat, have things that you can keep on the shelf for over a year. Anything that's probably good for you, you probably can't keep longer than a couple weeks. And there's many things in the cupboard just right behind me that are good until like January 2026. So that's everybody's in the market for stuff like that is highly palatable, that people want to eat, that has a long shelf life. And to some degree you can kind of be thankful because you're like, maybe this kind of helped with feeding large populations of people. You know what I mean? Not everyone could get, and I'm not just talking about America, but just globally, not everybody can get fresh produce all the time. So maybe, injecting an extra vitamin A in the rice or whatever that they're doing, or making things last a little bit longer in the cupboard. It was the difference between life and death for some people, so I don't want to just paint it all as bad, but you could also make the argument now that even though we seem to, and by we, I mean like the developing world, seem to be in declining health, I would like to look at the silver lining here, which is even though everyone seems to be getting it wrong, we all know how to get it right because we're all learning more. Technology is getting better. There's more information out there now than there ever was before, yet we still can't get it right, which is where you have to kind of fill in the gap. Like, how are we getting this wrong? Everybody knows that an apple is a better option than a donut, but we're all fat as hell. What's going on? So I think it's not, obviously the processed foods, not good. But I think the bigger problem is, and again, I've been reading a lot about this, me, it's energy balance. How much are you consuming or over consuming? And that's really what's detrimental to your health more than everything else.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't disagree with that, and I think a lot of people are absolutely over consuming 100%. But I don't know. And that's probably like, it's not one thing. It's probably both of those things, that we're eating too much of this poison that we're being fed to. I'm so curious now. I wish I would have done some research and found out where our food is made.
Depends
Throughout.
what food.
What's that?
Depends what food.
Well, let's see. I want to look at the heavy metals in baby food. Recalled over lead. CDC offered. When was this? Let me share this so you could see it as well. Share screen. Boom. And this was, I'm trying to find a date on this because I know it happens all the time. This is Healthline. It doesn't have a date on it, but go ahead.
I just want to say that I'd like to make a distinction between like actual poison and just bad ingredients. Like lead, if you have enough lead, it will kill you. If you have, a lot of seed oils, it's not great for your health. And maybe 50 years down the road, you'll have some, cardiac issues, but I wouldn't call canola oil poison. Like I would call lead poison, just to be clear. Because we were kind of talking about two different things, one being bad ingredients, and the other one being like contaminating with listeria or lead or something.
Right.
So
what about, is there any effect or any studies on seed oil and IQ?
I don't know. that would be extremely difficult to study, to isolate variables like that.
Here's one right here. The effects of pomegranate seed oil on mild cognitive impairment. In recent years, there's been growing interest supported by many experimental and clinical studies about the benefits of pomegranate in preventing various pathologic conditions, including brain neurodegeneration. The PSO contains high level of fatty acids. Oh, this sounds like it's saying that it's a good thing, the pomegranate seed oil.
Yeah, I haven't heard a lot of people use pomegranate seed oil. The one that really gets a bad rap are like soybean oil, vegetable oil, canola oil, rapeseed oil.
What about this one? Perilla seed oil.
I don't even know what that is. That a flower? I don't know what that means.
I don't know either. I don't know. It's interesting though, and it's certainly I don't know. Definitely lead though will get you down.
That's bad. Lead is bad. Unequivocally, lead is bad.
And I think making generations slow and stupid and fat is a great way to beat your enemies. If you're not able to beat them, in a one-on-one fight right now, maybe you can make them slow, stupid, and fat.
Yes. I would always like to remind my sister of this every time, as soon as I learned it, when I believe I was in college, that there is a correlation, not saying it's causation, between higher IQ and birth order. So the older siblings tend to be a lot smarter than their younger counterparts. So that is something that I've seen a lot of evidence for, just anecdotally.
Why is that? Do you know why?
Yes, because the materials that is essentially taken from the gluteofemoral area from the woman, the hips and butt area, that collect a lot of the supporting materials for the baby brain, a lot of omega-6 and 3 fatty acids. When she's a new mother, she's never had a baby, the baby gets a lot of those resources. Now, say she has a kid 2 years later, she's probably not going to have, let's just say she had the baby at 25. She's not going to have 25 years of building up all of those omega-3 and fatty acids for baby development availability there. She only has like 2 years to kind of make up that difference, and then has another child. That child is likely, again, these are very like loose studies, by the way. The subsequent children are typically not as smart as the first child, just because there was just more bioavailable energy for making the baby brain, essentially.
Okay, that makes sense. You can't supplement that with the folic acid and the other things.
Perhaps I don't know how many women are on like neonatals when they're not pregnant. But I don't know how much you can make up for, I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely not what, you take it when you're pregnant, these neonatal vitamins.
Yeah. So, maybe you should be taking them when you're planning on getting pregnant, before you're actually, become pregnant. I don't know enough about that. All I know is, as soon as I found out that fact, I was like, the science just in my sister's face, like, you're dumber than me. You're dumber than me. Dumb.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, I don't have any siblings, so I'm not able to torture them with that way.
Yeah.
But that would be fun. That would
Yeah,
be something
it was cool. It was cool. Wow.
You can get in touch with the show, by the way, 813-693-2124, HMBradio.com, the homemade broadcast at gmail.com, Facebook, it's HMB Radio, and Twitter. You can reach me at home_made_man. And got a lot of subscribers this week, Anna. People are curious about what's going on. Some are here to enjoy the program and watch you and your new friend, which is me. They're coming here, they're coming here to my channel, even though we've been doing this for a long time, because they need their Hummel fix. And I don't blame them, And there is the segment of the population there of your former employer that enjoy the program, and they come by and they like it, and that's good. And I welcome them with open arms. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here. There's also a contingent of morons that have that have been I wouldn't say harassing, but I sent you a comment that we got on one of the vids where a man accused me of being a homosexual. Why? I don't really know.
And why do you think that's a bad thing?
Well, it's not anymore, sir. That's what I want him to know if he is watching this. Is you can't
Hmm.
insult people that way because it's not. Number one, it's not even a good joke. I mean, part of me wishes that I was, just because it seems like it gets you a lot of social credit these days. You can say a lot of things that you might not be able to say otherwise. So it's not really an insult, sir. But I just thought it was a very silly comment, and I've
Mhm.
thought about it a lot because it was so stupid that I don't comment back to the ones that are even moderately clever, because I don't want to give anybody the time of day. But that one I just put good one. I didn't really know like, great stuff there. Let me see if I can find it. I even made a post about it because I liked it so much. This is not available right now.
You
What?
want me to grab it?
What's that?
I have it, I think.
I think I got it here.
Okay.
Let's yeah, here it is. There we go. And boom. So I think it's funny, number one, that people are coming to my channel, which I've ran for, I'm embarrassed to say how many years I've been making videos and podcasts. And I have, my little contingent of crew, and you have yours. But some people have joined us recently here, and they don't know that it's my channel. Hey, this Will guy said his girlfriend, capital G quotes, was out of town. Is his girlfriend a dude? He definite is into guys. So not good, not great grammar there either. Not
No.
a lot of good
Guys is not
grammar.
a proper noun, sir or ma'am or
It's not.
baby. Yeah.
Well, I think his name is, if it's a man, and it might be a woman, because this person's name appears to be Lynn, Lynn. And if you are a man, sir, you have a girl name. So I don't even want to hear it from you.
Right.
Uh, but if you are a lady, you just have bad grammar, and you're, I think you might have had some lead in your baby food, is what I'm trying to say
Yeah,
here.
that seems like a guy post.
There, it does.
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't
it's a
seem
guy
like a girl
post.
post.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But girl name either way is and if it is a woman insulting me, then it automatically gets, put it to the bottom of the barrel. I don't know. I just thought that was
Oh,
funny.
that's a
And
lovely picture of you next to the flowers.
yeah, oh, that was me at the Met Gala.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I
Wow.
got best
Wow.
dressed.
Well, you look great.
Thank you.
You
Yeah,
look
I got best dressed
great.
there. Look at
Yeah.
this guy. Who is this? Do you know who this is next to him in the
Mother
wedding dress?
Teresa from the grave. I don't know.
Looks like the Flying Nun. And
Yeah.
then this looks like Johnny Depp in some sort of flower hijab next to me there. I don't know who that was. I didn't recognize anyone at
Maybe
the
it's a
Met
queer
Gala.
from Palestine.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what
Yeah.
it is.
That's right. That's right. So that was exciting to be at that Met Gala last week or last night.
Yeah, looks good on you.
Didn't recognize many people, but saw a lot of dongs. I can tell you that much. After party was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. And did you see, I know that you messaged me, and I know that you're a big sports person. Obviously, I'm talking about Tom Brady's roast over the weekend. Netflix special, Tom Brady roast. Did you watch it?
I watched the highlights.
The highlights.
The highlights. Didn't watch the whole thing. I did see Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft, and I think it was Kevin Hart do a shot. I think he summoned the two of them to the stage to do a shot because he felt very uncomfortable. It was a weird vibe, but I feel like that's just, I don't know sports at all, but Bill Belichick just doesn't feel, I don't feel like I've ever seen him look comfortable ever. So that's just par for the course, I guess. But yeah, a lot of interesting roasters. I really enjoyed Nikki Glazer. She's kind of just like a staple. Got to have her there, just talking smack. Kevin Hart was pretty funny. I saw Rob Gronkowski looking just dumb as hell, which, again, that's his brand. Did you catch any of it or?
I don't have Netflix, so no,
Okay.
I didn't watch it at all, unfortunately. I would have liked to have watched it. I did watch some highlights, and I'm not that we're monetizing these videos or anything, but I think if you play like any sort of copyrighted material, you can't, do anything with it.
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't matter. We could play some stuff, right?
Yeah, you don't want to get a copyright strike, obviously, if it's on YouTube, but I don't think if you play it like a minute, I think you should be fine, but don't take my word for it.
I think you gotta like do something silly, like speed up the tape or something to make it not copyright.
I don't know the rules precisely, so
I don't really either. Well, I mean, I don't care. I'm not monetizing
yeah,
this.
there's a lot of foul language, so I don't know
Yeah,
if
that's
you'd have
true.
to. Yeah.
That's true. Maybe I mean I could just go back and since we're not live or anything, YouTube, I don't really care about the language, but
Okay. Okay.
I would only worry about it for the Radio St. Pete airing, which our
Right.
friends on Radio St. Pete 96.7 FM, downtown St. Petersburg. If you are in a 3-block area of downtown St. Petersburg, you can hear this show on Sundays at 6:15 on 96.7 on your FM dial, or anywhere in the world, radiostpete.com. But I would encourage you, please head over to my podcast feed, for the love of God, willsyoutube.com and HMB Radio on iTunes. I think Anna might, I don't want to throw you under the bus or anything, might be doing some extra things, on the channel here, which I
Yeah.
have to authorize you to use the StreamYard and teach you how to use the this wonderful broadcast thing that I'm trying to mirror image here so you can get things on the screen and all that.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, and I'm also thinking. I know that I don't want to throw anybody out there if it's not official yet, but isn't there a possibility we could use maybe a studio down your way
That
that we
is
could
true.
check out, right? So
That is true.
I actually went on their website today just to kind of check out the space digitally. Looks
Mm.
very cool. So I think I'm going to try to make it down there in the next week and just kind of check it out for myself.
Yeah, they would like that. Just let me know when you want to go. In fact,
Yeah.
I'll give you the president's number, and even if I'm not able to join you, you can go check it out. Absolutely. So yeah, that'd be cool. And I think next week on the live stream, we're gonna attempt to maybe even take some phone calls, which should be fun.
Okay.
I think I worked out some logistics there, so we could potentially be able to take some phone calls. And you can leave texts and voicemails, by the way, 813-693-2124. That's 813-693-2124. Text and voicemails. I do respond to those every once in a while when I get a few free moments. And I found a few stickers left. I got some clings here. So if you need a few stickers, I got you. Just send me an email, thehomemadebroadcast@gmail.com. So yeah, I did see some highlights. What was your favorite? Who do you think did the best on the Tom Brady roast?
Of what I saw, again, I just
Yes.
saw the highlights. I would say Nikki Glazer, probably, of what I saw.
Terrible feet on Nikki Glazer.
She got bad feet.
She's got really bad feet. Let me see if I can find. She's got like Bunyan City, bro.
No.
Like her. I do like her a lot, and I think she's hot too.
Yeah, she is a babe for sure.
Let's see if I can find the feet pics here.
She's not my favorite comedian, not even close, but she just really shines at the roast. Like you need her there for the roast.
She's like, I wonder if she's kind of in a. I don't think so. I was gonna say, do you think it's an Amy Schumer situation where she has a boyfriend that's right for her? I don't think so. I don't think that's.
I don't know. I guess you could ask that of anybody that's there, but I think she probably writes her own material. But I could be wrong. I know that Amy had a lot of material written for her by Anthony Jeselnik.
Yes.
Do you think he's ashamed that he dated her? Do you think he feels that way now that she's got Cushing's disease?
Does she really have Cushing disease?
I swear to God, she came out and said she does. Yes.
Yeah, well, she said she does. Here's her foot. This is Nikki Glazer's foot. It's kind of small. Oh, I can't. Can I make this bigger?
I can see it. I've seen enough.
Not great. Not good.
No.
Thoughts?
2 thumbs down. Don't like it. That was a gross foot. Yeah.
That was a gross foot.
And I don't really have high standards for feet, but that one was a bad one. And I think you get that when you wear heels. And my grandma had those, the bunions, and she also had this action. Did your grandma have that? Oh. Where the second and third toes crossed over each other.
Oh,
Have you seen this?
Yeah, I think so. And that's just from jamming your feet in heels.
Yeah.
'Cause that
They
looks like a heel foot right there.
yeah. Those are nasty. Those are bad.
It's like the Chinese binding feet.
Yes. Yeah. Mhm.
They're sitting there with binded feet, putting lead in baby food. They're so
Mm-mm.
smart, and then they bind their feet. I don't get it.
Um, no comment. It's like, well, never mind.
I did see, there was Bert Kreischer was there, Tampa's own Bert Kreischer, and I don't know, like, I don't understand why Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer are just like a package deal now. Like, they seem like they don't have they're not independent of each other anymore. They did a kind of a cringy presentation that apparently didn't do too well.
They feed off each other's energy. I get why people want him as a package deal. I only saw the one presentation. Did they MC the whole night, or they
I
just
didn't
did a?
saw the cringy presentation that they did.
Okay,
It
I
didn't
mean,
really get any pops or anything. I heard Nicki did good. I heard, um, who else? Kim Kardashian got booed really bad.
oh, she had a really good joke about family members defending uh football players. I can't
Mm.
remember exactly how it went, but it was spicy. It was spicy. It was good. It was good.
Who else was there? I just watched some of the highlights. There were some good jokes. I wish we could play some of them, but I guess since we're on YouTube, you can't. See, that's the bad thing. If you're on radio, we could play these things, no problem. We just got to edit out the beeps.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
issue. But if we're commentating on it, why can't we use it? If we're talking about it.
Dude, I don't make the rules. I I wish we could. It's just, they're trying to preserve their intellectual property, I guess. I don't know.
One of the things that I saw was the take from like and it seemed like it was like Clay Travis, and I just kind of saw it scrolling through Twitter. I don't know if you know who Clay Travis is, and the what's the dude, Jason Whitlock, who's now on the Blaze, more of that like right leaning media, is that this roast was really good for culture because it was very not PC and it was on Netflix, which is obviously,
Surprising.
has,
Yeah.
has a political slant there, and they allowed it to happen. And maybe there is some sort of, maybe that was the first step in kind of combating that intellectual chokehold on media that side seems to have, because it's obviously doing very well on the internet.
Of course.
They're not really having a problem with all comedy just moved to the internet. It's not on Comedy Central on a network anymore. It's now just
No.
on the internet.
Yes, it is. Everything is online now. So,
Yeah.
but good for Netflix. I'm surprised that they did that. Seemed very not Netflix of them, but whatever. I'm glad that it's here. It
I'm
needed to
glad it's
happen.
here. But as far as TV goes, like I don't have Netflix. I don't have, the only thing I do have is Amazon Prime because it came with my shipping for Amazon, right? So I
Yeah.
have access to Amazon Prime, which is good. But I watch it sometimes. It's good for like old movies. Like we were watching a bunch of old like Braveheart, The Godfather, like all those are on Amazon. I don't really care about any new movies, so that's good to have for that. But I don't really watch stuff, and if I am watching stuff, it's online, and people that are like online, they're just creating their own content. So I don't know. They might have missed the boat as far as getting people. Unless they start giving out shows to like Shane, which I think they did. Actually, did Netflix give a show to Shane Gillis?
There was a Netflix special. Yep. I watched it.
Was there a show? I thought he was doing a sketch comedy show.
I don't know of it. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I haven't heard of anything about that.
Beautiful Dogs. That's his special. That was on. Oh, Netflix buys Shane Gillis comedy series Tires to premiere in May. There we go. So Netflix is trying to get in because there's a lot of money to be made there,
Yes.
obviously. And I don't understand why at this point they have these monoliths now, like the Joe Rogan and his crew on this Outpost that Shane Gillis is definitely one of those guys now. Like you could why not just make content and make your money off of it? Why are you giving Netflix a cut of your cash?
Right.
But I guess in the long run, it's because they have more money to pay for the production, so production will be better. You can do
And
more.
also just like a giant audience. A lot of people have Netflix.
You have the giant audience, And subscribership to Netflix is going down and down and down. Meanwhile, you could have your, a YouTube show where you have unlimited potential viewership there. But I guess I don't know. Like, I don't know what the monetization's like. It seems like if you want to make any money on YouTube,
Could
you
also
gotta have
be a status thing.
gotta
There's still a status like I got a Netflix special. Like there's status there, even if the numbers are dropping, So
yeah, maybe. Well, I'm sorry I missed it. Maybe I'll try to find a stream of it somewhere. Netflix should make it free on YouTube and play it with ads or something. That would be nice. But anyway, Anna, thank you so much for your time. We'll see you. We'll be back live next Wednesday for a live stream. And of course, midnight on Sundays here on YouTube. The replay will be up on YouTube and HMB Radio on podcasts. And look out for Anna Hummel's vids coming at some point in the near future.
Yep.
And we're gonna get you set up with a phone call too, so you can take calls and do some content.
Beautiful.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. So have a great week. Goodbye, Anna, and goodbye, everybody else.